All right. So I'm going to show you guys how to make a pretty simple sword in Blender. And I'm going to show you how you can add some like material um, on it, which essentially means like the color and the textures. So I'm going to kind of use this as like an example of what we can make. So I am going to move this aside. I'm going to click G to move, and then I can click my green arrow and move this away. Awesome. And now what I'm going to do is we're going to add a new cube. Let me get my meeting control out of the way. Okay. So clicking off, I'm going to go add mesh cube, which if you open a blank Blender general document, you should just automatically get this cube anyway. Okay. So what we're going to do is we are first going to make the, I don't know, this top grippy part that separates the grip from the blade. We're going to do that first. So to do that, we're going to click on the cube. It should be highlighted orange. And then we are going to click S, which automatically gets us into the scale. And we're going to click on the red, which is the X axis, and shrink it in. And then what we're going to do is click on the blue, which is Z axis, and shrink it in. And then I'm going to click on the Y axis and drag it out a bit. So you can see over here, I'm trying to create this guy right here, or like gonna start it basically. Cool. Next thing I'm gonna do is I am going to go into edit mode, which I can also hit tab and it'll switch right into edit mode. So if I am trying to rotate and it's kind of like giving me weird angles, I can also click on this hand, which is move view, and I can click and drag. Also, if I, for some reason, can't find my thingy, whatever I'm looking at, I can go to view frame selected and it'll snap to whatever I have selected. Cool. So first thing is I'm going to click on this button, faces, which means I am going to be able to click on just the face. And I'm going to click this bottom face and I'm going to click eye, which is inset, which means that I just clicked eye and I'm not clicking anything. I'm just moving my mouse back and forth, or my cursor, and we can see it's insetting, which means it's creating a face inside. So I'm just going to kind of bring this in a little bit. Whoop, click. And we are going to bring out the grip or the handle. So I want this to be a little kind of more squarish, less rectangle. So with this selected, if you clicked off, you can just make sure you're on faces and click it again. I'm going to click S, which is scale, and I'm going to click and drag on green, which is yellow, or sorry, yellow, y-axis. That's what I meant to say. Drag it in like so. Sweet. And if you want, you can click on it and you can try to go to mesh, transform to sphere. And when you click this, if you try to move your mouse, it might help it round out a little more. Mine's too small, so it's not really doing that. Yeah, and also like, I don't care. I can make this rounded more later. Sweet. So now with this face, I'm going to click here and now I'm going to hit E, which is extrude. If I hit E and just move my cursor, it should drag it down. Now, for some reason, if yours is like going sideways like this or going backwards, it's because it's following the Y or the X axis. You want it to go up and down, which is the Z axis. So you just need to make sure you hit E and then Z, and that'll bring it down. And I'm going to hit G to then move that bottom face down a little more. Perfect. Let's see how it's looking compared to the base. I'm going to move the base over closer so we can kind of peek at it more like that. There we go. Okay, so I want to make this little block hilt that I've created right here. So I am going to go back to edit mode. I'm going to click on this bottom face, drag it down just a wee bit more. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on one of the side faces and I'm going to click Control R. And what that's done is we now see that I'm not clicking anything. I'm just moving my cursor around and it's showing that it's wanting to make cuts. So I'm going to go ahead and just click, drag this down and click again to show where I want the cut for the kind of bottom of my handle. Now I'm clicking the edit mode face selector and I'm going to hold down, click once, click one of these faces, then I'm going to hold down shift and click the other faces. So now I have all the edge faces of this bottom part selected. Now I want to extrude them out, but the problem is if I hit E and try to extrude, it only really lets me go to one side, but we want to basically grow it from these guys. So we're going to go over and we are going to click extrude along normals. Now you'll get this little kind of handle here. And if I click and drag this, I'm going to make it kind of grow outside of the plane. And you'll get this little panel that shows up here. I'm going to click offset even. And you can mess with these, see what works. That's okay for me right now. And it's fine because I can always hit S, which is scale, and I can adjust these to look a little more kind of even on both sides. And I'm going to do that. So again, I just extruded it along normals, and now I just clicked S to scale, and I'm just kind of adjusting those a little bit. Cool. And I'm going to grab these bottom parts, and I'm just clicking one at a time and holding down Shift. Now I'm going to click S scale, and I'm going to click in the middle of this. There's like this white circle that is scale. If I click in the middle and drag, it'll affect all of the axes. So here you go. So it's a little fatter than my one here, but that's fine. I don't care. Perfect. Okay. So now let's do the blade. So we're going to click the top face here. And again, we're going to hit I, which is inset. And I'm going to just kind of put it like right here. You can adjust it based on what you want. That's good. I am going to now click Control R, and I want to make a cut in the middle. So I'm just going to click once and hit Escape to set it so it's just right smack in the middle. And then I'm going to use my face tool and click both of these. So click here, hold down Shift, click here. I want to extrude them. So I'm going to click E and pull this up a little bit. Click, zoom out, reposition so I can see things better. Click E and pull it up out here. So this is going to be a shorter sword, but I can move all these. So I can always grab like my line or vertices. I probably want to grab vertices. And if I go up here, this is the viewport. So this shows it like without any materials. This is like wireframe. This is it with like all the materials added. And this is with like lighting and the full rendering. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click this normal shading viewport, solid viewport. And then I'm going to click toggle X-ray. And that means that as I drag, it's going to select vertices and things that are hidden behind. Because if I don't have this on and I try to grab something, see, it doesn't grab the back corners because they're hidden. So I'm going to turn on this X-ray, and then I'm going to click and drag and select all of these vertices for the top because I'm going to drag it up so that it's actually like similar size to the blade over here. Perfect. Click off. And now what I'm going to do, whoopsies, that was weird, is I am going to click my face tool, and I'm going to click these top two faces. Perfect. And now I'm going to hit S for scale, and I'm going to scooch them in. A little closer. Perfect. And then I'm going to hit the X-axis and scooch them in too. I'm kind of doing a lazy way of making like a pointy sword. And I'm going to do the same thing to the sides of the blade. So I'm going to click this. Oopsies, come on. I'm going to turn off the X-ray for a second. There you go. Boop, boop, boop. So I'm going to go to edit mode here. I'm going to click this face, and then I'm going to pivot, hold down Shift and click this face. And I'm going to click scale S, and I'm going to move these in on the X axis. And what that's going to do is it's going to shrink the size of the blade. So it's like actually sharp. There we go. Look at that. Super, super fast, easy way to kind of make the sharp sides of the blade. And if I want to be really picky, I can come up here, grab these guys again and move them in even more. So they're like super, super tiny. Probably a different, better way to do this, but this is how I do it. Okay, cool. Now, if you want to be fancy down here, and create kind of little edges like I did, you can, again, we're on edit mode, we're on the sword, you're on faces, click this side of the face that's kind of on the side of the, I don't know what you call this, like hilt or something, and then pivot, hold down shift, click the other one. And then the same thing we did when you're creating this bottom section, you can go extrude along normals. So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to click and drag on this yellow kind of tool, bring it out how far I want. Now I'm going to try to shrink them. So I'm going to hit S to shrink, and I'm going to just click on in the middle white circle and click and drag. So I can shrink those in if I wanted, or kind of make them bigger. I don't know, depends on what I wanted. I'm going to hit G to move them. Like maybe I want them up, maybe I want them kind of facing down. I think that'd be kind of cool if they were facing down. I could extrude more, so I might click extrude along normals again and drag. I don't know, maybe it's doing some funky thing. Boom. And click G, scooch these up a little more. Maybe I click S again, and maybe I shrink them in on the x-axis. Ooh, yeah, make them kind of sharp. And then I can also just grab edges. So up here on my edit mode, I'm on faces right now, but if I click edges, I'm going to go view frame selected. So it snaps here. Perfect. I could select this bottom edge here. And then if I pivot to the other side, which I could mirror all this too, but I'm just doing this kind of the quick and dirty way. I'm going to hold down shift and click the edge on the opposite side down here. And then I could click G, which is to move, and I could click my Z-axis or the blue arrow and drag it up to kind of give it like a pointier thing going on. Sweet. I mean, this sword's kind of looking like a cooler shape than this guy was, so that's nice. Awesome. Now for all these kind of sharp corners, you know, you don't really want a sharp corner on your grip right here. So what you could do is go to edit mode, and you're gonna, with the, well, I guess you could do the face thing too, but I might use edge. And you're gonna grab the edges here. So I'm just kind of dragged to grab all them, but you can see it doesn't grab the ones on the back side, so you have to pivot and click on it. So hold down shift, click. I guess I don't really need the middle one. Click. Okay. So now we want to bevel. So right here, bevel will basically kind of smoothen out or make faces from edges. So I'm going to click that and drag the yellow icon. Perfect. So my bevel here, it's pretty weak. So what I can do is over here, it automatically kind of jumps up the custom options. So you can mess with it. So I might mess with how many segments there are, which means like how many faces it gets split into. Really depends on what you want. I drag this and it becomes like more round. I think I'm going to do that and click off. So now it looks wonky up here, but I'm not too concerned about that. The point is it's now round and looks comfortable actually. Another thing I'm going to do is click on my sword, and I'm going to right click shade auto smooth. It doesn't look like it does much, but it basically just kind of makes it easier to look at. Let's see if I go Control Z to undo. Yeah, I guess you can't really see the difference. It makes a difference. It just kind of helps smoothen things out a little bit. So you are welcome to go ahead and kind of smoothen out the edges. I might do that with mine. Again, clicking on your sword, going to edit mode, clicking on the edge selection, clicking on different edges. And I want to mirror them always. So I always make sure whatever edges I'm grabbing on one side, I grab the same edges on the other side. And I'm just holding down shift as I click these edges. And then I'm using my bevel tool, clicking and dragging. And you can see the problem on these outside edges here is it starts to cross each other, which I'll show you a fix for that. So I'm going to click off, pretend I like that. And then here we got some naughty edges or naughty vectors there. So I just clicked, dragged over these two and grabbed them. And what I'm going to do is right click, and I am going to go to dissolve vertices. And what that does is it basically kind of tells them to go away, tells them they're not needed. So I'm going to do the other side. Grab these guys, right click, dissolve vertices or merge vertices at center. That also works. That's probably actually a better system. I always get nervous dissolving things. So we'll do that instead on this side as well. Right click, merge vertices at center. Yep, that's good. I like that better. I like the look of that better anyway. There we go. So anyway, go about it, make it the way you look, and in the next video, I'll show you how to quickly add materials.